Here with Jonathan Vaas, who's the Chief Legal Officer at BambooHR. Jonathan.
Thanks for having me. Great to
Yeah.
meet you, Joel.
Thanks for coming on. Jonathan, is this your first Unleash conference?
This is, first time. It's a good turnout.
Yeah. It's a great event. I always feel like it's a good mid-sized conference that's not too overwhelming. But if you're an HR person interested in getting up to date on what's new out there, learning about AI right now, right? That's what we're going to talk about here in a little bit. And talking to some vendors that might interest you, finding out what's going on with new technology that's out there, how you might be utilizing it. It's not overwhelming.
Yeah, I agree with that. It feels not quite bite-sized, but you can make your way around the floor in an hour.
All right, you're Chief Legal Officer at BambooHR. You have a background in HR too, right?
Yeah, I also lead the HR team at Bamboo, so never a dull moment.
What's interesting to me, I wanted to talk to you about the risk and compliance issues that come along with AI adoption and usage in organizations. You can't get online without reading something about AI. It's top of mind for everyone. It's top of mind for HR teams too. There's a lot of pressure to start using, start adopting, start championing AI usage across the organization and within their own teams. But what are some of the main risks that come along with that? And what are some compliance issues to look out for with this AI usage and expanded adoption?
My first thought is, how long do we have? Because there are a lot of risks. I want to start by just talking about how quickly things have changed, because I've been at Bamboo, this is my second year now. In the first year, there was a lot of anxiety around how can we use it, what's safe to use, and our KPI on AI was what percentage of people were using it. And we thought of that as just looking at over the course of the year, can we get more and more of the company using it to lean into that adoption?
Sure.
1 year later, it feels like using AI it's a no-brainer. It's
like table stakes, right?
Yeah, it's table stakes. It might be in your car. It's in your phone. Yeah. Every time you Google search, you're using AI. And so we're past the point of even talking about whether or not you use it. So now it's how you use it. Last year, it was all about the policy then. What do you put in your AI usage policy? And a lot of that is about making sure you have an approved tool. So it's not,
Sure.
We're not having the models train on our data. And then what data are you allowed to put in there? Now it feels like it's already shifted to, it's really about the architecture. Because one of the biggest risks, if you have systems of record where your permissioning is stored in whatever data we're talking about, it might be your employees' data. We think about that a lot at Bamboo.
Yeah.
Of all of our customers' employees' data, their sensitive PIIs in there. Yeah. It might be your customers' Salesforce information, things like that. But there's permissioning associated with it. So I shouldn't be able to ask AI something and get out a graph, even a data visualization that has information I'm not supposed to access. So you think about, how do you make sure that the permissioning always flows with the data to whatever AI interface you're using? And that's a really tricky thing to do. And if you're taking data out of something via a copy and paste and putting it in a model elsewhere, suddenly you start to have copies of data, governance falls away, and very quickly you start to get, if the data is ungoverned, garbage in, garbage out, or even worse, accessing information that people shouldn't be able to access. So that permissioning layer and having it associated with a system of record, that's the first thing that comes to mind on risk.
And it seems with expanded use of agentic systems and agents, it's not a one crack in the wall and you're done. It's like that scales, right? If you have a system in place that is pulling data that they're not supposed to, or sharing data they're not supposed to, that can scale really quickly and really get out of hand.
Yeah, absolutely. And now, just to differentiate from a year ago, when the question we were asking is, are you using AI? Like, now that's table stakes. Now the question we're all asking is, what repeatable processes are you automating with AI so we can free ourselves up to do the more strategic work, the work that we're uniquely situated to do? That's where agents come into play. And so how do you get the value proposition from AI? An agent, in many cases, needs to operate between integrations, for example. So if you have your system of record layer, but then you have some other application that's integrated with it, that agent needs to be able to move data from one system into another and back and forth. And so also, if your APIs aren't set up in those integrations in a way that lets the agent access what it's only supposed to access, not do any shenanigans in the process, and make sure the data is bi-directional, stays up to date in real time. It's really hard. It's a super complicated problem. And I think companies increasingly are going to look for their core systems to solve this for them, because we can't all be these integrators or AI engineers. And so but getting that right in the architecture level, it reminds me of 8 years ago or so when GDPR came out. We all started with policy. Okay, we have to comply with this new law. What's the policy to comply? But over time, we very quickly realized that our tools just have to have all this compliance built into the architecture, because this is too important. You can't get it wrong.
100%. Being in an HR position, what are your thoughts on where HR should sit, HR leaders should sit with setting guardrails across an organization, or promoting or encouraging AI usage or adoption in the organization?
I think the question they ask is really important. So it's going from, are we using AI for our research or for some content preparation, first drafts? That was last year, right?
Yeah.
HR leaders now should be asking that question, I think, of what are the repeatable process that we can start to automate with AI? But human in the loop is essential. You've got to have, if there's a decision being made, there's any decision maker or any process can have bias in it. AI can certainly have bias, but there's a lot of new laws being enacted. GDPR still applies to this. And so I think you have to look at how can we save time through questions that we get asked all the time that are simple questions, or repeatable processes like onboarding and offboarding, where AI can do a lot to save time. Scheduling is a pretty mundane thing where you can save time. It frees us up to be more strategic, but also look at all the decision points in the process and make sure a human is in the loop. If it's an agent you're using, you're managing the agent just like you would manage an intern who doesn't have great reasoning skills yet. I think that's, for starters, that's really important. Then you also have to look at how sensitive is the data? Do we have health information, medical information that might be subject to HIPAA, private personal information subject to GDPR, and then making sure we don't just lose track of all of those principles of compliance that before AI was around we focused on. We still have to focus on those too. So I think there's a lot to wrap your arms around. But going back to risks, right now, if you're in HR or if you're operating a business in any other function, if you don't learn rapidly, there's a huge risk of falling behind as well. And so I think it's really important to start somewhere, start learning. We at BambooHR often say, we're not know-it-alls, we're learn-it-alls. So let's just go learn really quickly and iterate. And that's my recommendation to all the HR leaders out there, is start someplace that is bite-sized enough that you feel like you can start experimenting and go from there.
Is BambooHR going to be at any other conferences this year? Where can folks see you?
Yeah, we're going to be, just like we were last year, one of the presenting sponsors at SHRM, which I think is going to be in Florida this year. So we're really excited about that. That's if this one's appetizer size. SHRM is certainly an entree. That's a big conference that we always have a good time.
SHRM might be 2 entrees. Is that great? Jonathan, thanks so much for coming on.
It was a pleasure. Thanks for having me, Joel.